y'all, I'm fixing to cook us a corned beef. I cooked Mother's and took it to her today, and she was tickled. She said it was really good. So we're going to do ours tonight. And I'm going to mix it up in my crock pot and put the lid on it. And I'm going to put it in the refrigerator until it's, probably 10 or 10:30 tonight, till it's bedtime. And then I'll put it out in the crock pot in the garage, because I like to do stuff like that out there. And I'll turn it on low. But what I have here is a flat, let's see, it is a flat cut corned beef brisket. And this particular one weighs 2.88 pounds. Now this is a splurge. I love these, but it just kind of costs too much other than to have just one time a year. So that's when we do it. So I have rinsed this because I want to get all of that brine off of it. I rinsed it and I dried it with paper towel. And I have the little packet that comes in it. I'm just going to put this on top. I'm going to put 2 cups of regular water. And I'm going to add 1 whole bay leaf. And I'm going to add 1 cup of red wine. Now you can use beef bouillon if you want to. Don't use cooking wine, y'all. That stuff is terrible and it's salty and you won't have a good product. But if it's good enough to drink, it's good enough to cook with. So I'm going to add 1 cup. How easy is that? I'm done. This is going to go in the refrigerator until it's time. Now, because this was kind of a splurge, I could save money on the sides. I'm going to cook us the cabbage, and then I've got some potatoes that I'm going to, whenever I take this out, I'm going to slice the potatoes and put in this juice and let go. And since I'm going to do this out in the garage, and I really like to do things that are odoriferous out there, I have an onion. And I'm going to slice this onion up and chop it up, and I'm going to dehydrate that overnight as well. So, I will see y'all back in the morning whenever it's time to do step 2 to all this stuff. Well, we're getting ready to eat, and our corned beef is done. I put it on last night about 10:30, and about 7 this morning, I washed and cut up some little red potatoes, quartered them, and put those in there. And I'm going to take our corned beef out first. Put that on our cutting board, and I'm just going to get these potatoes out and put these on the serving dish. And our cabbage is in there in the kitchen doing what cabbage does. It's just getting all happy with itself. Ooh, there's that bay leaf. We sure don't want that. We'll put that aside. Now, you know, my mother's side of the family, part of them came from Ireland. And I do wish I knew where, and I wish the history on that. Now, my daddy's people came from Wales and ended up in West Tennessee. And I do have a little bit of information on that, but I don't know where they came from over there. But I do know their last name was Robbins, part of them that came. So this, I put the fat on the top whenever I was cooking this. Now, some people say put it on the top. Some people say put it on the bottom. You know what I say? It's your kitchen. You do what you want to. But I am going to just take this fat and just take that right off, because nobody's gallbladder has time for that, do they? No way, not even me. No, so. Okay, and then when you get this fat off, you can tell which way the grains run. Now, on the grains, what that is, that's the muscle meat, in which direction it goes. So, the grains are running this way, long ways. And so, I'm going to cut it against the grain. And I'm just going to slice it. You can slice it as thick or as thinly as you would like. If you are going to have sandwiches later, just, you know, whatever y'all like to do. It's your kitchen. You do your own thing. Now this, I told y'all yesterday whenever I was putting this together, to me this is a splurge meal, because I really don't like to pay this much for a piece of meat. But if you look at it in another way, let me tell y'all what I spent. The potatoes, I had 5 of those little red potatoes, and they were $1.01 for all of them. And then that big head of cabbage was $1.23. So if you do have an expensive part of your meal, you can make it more economical with your sides. And then I made a green, kind of a 1, 2, 3 homemade little Jell-O recipe. That's all we're going to have for dessert because it's light and cool after all this heavy stuff. And you know, Jell-O's not that much, so it's all going to factor out and it's all going to be fine. So we're just going to put this on our serving tray. Of course, y'all's will be pretty, and you could drizzle some of this au jus around it if you wanted to. But I'm going to get our plates, and we'll get our cabbage, and we'll get everything plated, and then we'll get us a taste, and we'll see what we think. Well, it's been about 20 minutes, and I've taken the lid off, and it's looking really good, but there's quite a bit, not quite a bit, but there's a little bit of that juice left on the bottom, and I'm going to try to let that evaporate. Let me turn this vent hood off, y'all. Ah, that's better. So I'm going to let this sit here and kind of evaporate, and I think I'm going to turn it on simmer. And then I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna talk to y'all about that corned beef. So I'll see y'all back in the dining room. Okay, y'all. Here's my favorite part, but filming this is not my favorite part, y'all. I don't like to eat on camera, but we do want to get us a little taste. That cabbage. Oh, that's good. I have learned to like something else. Cabbage. Gets a little bite of our, That was good, y'all. Of course, you could get a little green something put on your plate if you wanted to, and my Donnie's going to have a slice of that brown Irish bread. And we're going to sit down and we're going to eat dinner. Whatever your heritage is, learn about it. We all come from somewhere and we're all going places. We need to learn from our past, fix our mistakes, and carry forward the good things that we get from our ancestors. So enjoy the St. Patrick's Day, and I'll see y'all next time. Okay, y'all, keep in mind, I am not an expert at dehydrating yet, but the Facebook page I was telling you about is Dehydrating Tips and Tricks, and every person on that Facebook page is an absolute dear. There's not anybody that acts like a horse's tail. You know, there are some groups that you join, and so anyway, they're nice people over there. But this is a kasori. I ordered it from Amazon, and it comes with all the trays, but I just used the ones that I was going to actually put product on. And I dehydrated these at 125 degrees all night. Now, it's probably been 12 hours. You really, to my understanding, you can't really get things too dry, because if it has any moisture in it at all, y'all, it's a bad deal. And so, okay, let's see here. Let me think about what I'm doing. These need to be cool before you can put them up. I'm just going to put these on this one piece of parchment paper. Now, you can order sheets to go on these, but parchment works pretty good. So I'm going to let these get room temperature, and then I'm going to put, I'm making a mess. I'm going to put them in this big jar. Now, there's a thing called conditioning. You put your things that you've done in a larger container than what you would store them in. Put a lid on it really tight, and then you'll walk by it and, you know, shake it. This takes about a week or so. Just, you're trying to make sure you have a good dry product. If there's any moisture still in things, it'll glump up, and you'll see it glumping. Like my tomato powder from tomato paste, I can't seem to get that dry enough. It's not doing right. It's not making me happy. But I have dried ginger. I've got some onions, some mushrooms, some orange lemon peel, some rice, some rosemary, some carrots, and some black beans. And there is this little product from Food Saver, the vacuum seal people. And y'all, look at this. I ran this through my, look at that. This doesn't have the ring on it. I ran it through this You put this little thing on top of it. You plug one end here and one end into your vacuum sealer. And I don't know, it's just magic. I don't believe in magic. But it just, it seals it. It takes all the air out of it. It's amazing. Now my rosemary, I couldn't get it to seal, so I do have a band on that. But this is just a real quick new toy that I've got to play with, and I really have enjoyed it so far. I've used my dried mushrooms in a dish, and I've used several. I've gone through a couple different onions using those in a dish. Oh, and these are potatoes. I've got some potatoes I was playing with. I'd like to come up with a meal in a jar where you had your black beans, your rice or potatoes, and your spices in a jar, and then you could make these shelf stable, and you could just add hot water and you have a meal. Or if you were a hiker, you could do your thing. So I'm gonna let this cool. I'm gonna put it in here. So I'll see y'all next time, and we will have more adventures in dehydrating and learning things. It's good to learn new things, y'all. Don't get stagnant. We need to keep your brain plugged in. So I'll see y'all next time. Y'all go do something fun.